have a full house tonight. We have Brian here. I have PW at front row, and I have Tony. Nation's Corner is in the house tonight after Silver Bells 2. How are you all doing?
Exhausted.
Awesome.
Brian's exhausted. Tony is awesome. How about you?
Man, I'm recuperating finally. It took me a couple of days to get back in the swing, but I'm here. So let's go.
How's the fans? I don't know how the fans are doing because I know lots of people tuned in on Saturday night on Title Match Network. We had a banger of a show, Silver Bells, even though it was Silver Bells Winter Wonderland, it was on fire. And we're all recovering. I know lots of people have been watching it on Title Match Network. They keep tagging us. So if you guys are watching it, if you have a fun favorite clip, let us know. Tag Mission Pro on Twitter, Instagram. We want to see all of that enjoyment of the show. And
Yep.
you guys have traveled. You guys were a part of the wild weekend that is Mission Pro. So we're excited to hear potentially some behind-the-scenes stories and your experience at the show in person, seeing all these matches go down.
Yeah, it was great to have everyone at this show. That we had people from California, had people from New York, Tennessee, Carolina, New Jersey. Where else?
New Mexico,
Oklahoma. So we had people all over the country come in for this show, and it was really fun and exciting show.
I love it. Love seeing everyone in the chat.
Yeah, Nation's Corner taking over in the chat.
No, I love it. Love to see it. So we're going to have some fun tonight and break down some of the matches and moments that happened on Saturday. And again, there are going to be spoilers. So if you guys haven't watched the show, go back on Title Match Network and look for Silver Bells 2 under Mission Pro Wrestling, and you can run it back. So make sure you do that. You can watch it twice, 3 times. Like, that's okay too.
Yeah. Just keep it on repeat.
Yeah.
Just keep it on repeat.
A loop.
Yeah.
So real quick, before we get into the matches and break it down, I want to hear from PW Front Row and Tony. What was your favorite moment of the night?
Well, I have to apologize to people because I was the one that sponsored JP Harlow.
Yeah,
I had good intentions. I had no idea things were going to go the way they did, and I feel terrible about it now. I have a massive JP Harlow hangover. We had no idea that things were going to go south, and that he was going to have this, I don't know, wouldn't say change of attitude, but we saw the way things went in that semi-main event, and I'm sure we're going to get to that. But I kind of regret supporting him. I don't regret supporting a wrestler ever, but I have to apologize to everybody involved.
So you have to apologize, but so now you have to counteract the fact that you sponsored JP by sponsoring some other stuff for our February show, because I think you need to counteract what JP did.
All right, that's fair. That's fair. So when it becomes a little clear about who, if any, his opponent's going to be in February, I'll have to do the right thing.
Yeah, Debhausen said you trusted the bad guy. So much hate.
I think SMH. I think that's shaking my head. Yeah, Deb wishes she could have been here. Deb was very upset that she wasn't able to make it because she saw all of us having a great time over the weekend, and she wants to make a Mission Pro show so bad, but she lives all the way out in Pennsylvania, so it's kind of hard for her to travel. But sooner or later,
we'll get her out to a show.
Yeah, she has to come out, hang out with everyone, meet everyone. It's such a special. I loved meeting people that I never met. I've only seen them online. I've only interacted. So that was special for me that I got to meet everyone that I don't get to hang out with all the time.
Yeah, it was a definite first for us to hang out with Marks in New Mexico. He showed up for the first event ever. I've been after meeting him for 3 years trying to meet him, and I'm a truck driver, and I've gone through his where he lives like 3 or 4 different times, and he's always busy or always doing something else. So I was never able to meet him, but he showed up, and it was just blew my mind. He's just so awesome. But front row's favorite, well, I mean, I don't know if he gave his moment or not, but my favorite moment of the night, I have two. One was the Candy Cane Street fight with Bougie Reality. And the second favorite moment of the night was a little 4-year-old boy sitting in front of us, scissoring us all night long.
He was doing it.
He was scissoring us, me and Neil Benedict, Too Sweet Neil in the live chat. He was just scissoring us all night long. It was so cool. And his dad was just sitting there just watching the matches, and the 4-year-old boy was turned around in his seat just interacting with us all the whole night, it seemed like.
Yeah, and to Tony's point, I think for anybody who is in the area or has the ability to drive to a Mission Pro show, the energy in the room was super high. Like, it was high the whole night. People were reacting for everything, having a ball. You need to go to a Mission Pro show in person. If you can drive, fly, crawl, whatever you have to do, just get there, because I promise it'll be one of the most fun things you do.
I agree.
Yeah, it's a very fun. And the December show is one of my favorites of the year because Santa, Mrs. Claus was there. We had so many of the kids were so happy. There were so many people giving. We collected so many toys. I think we collected over 100 toys on Saturday.
That's awesome.
For my Salvation Army, for our kettle. I think we raised over $600 just on Saturday. And so that's thing. And so it's that season of giving, and we're going to keep doing that. Brian, what was your favorite moment before we dive into matches?
I don't know if I had an actual favorite moment, but there were a couple really good moments that, like the JP turning with the referee, that was a shocker, and watching the crowd's reaction to that was something pretty amazing. The referee doing the hip toss.
Yeah, that was a good one.
That was a shocker to me too, because I didn't even know that was coming. So that was like, what? Just seeing everyone really stepping up and having a great match. So there was not like one certain moment, but I think the one that kind of overshadowed the show is with the referee turning on Simon Miller and causing the chaos, and then JP calling out Thunder Rosa and Thunder Rosa answering the call. And bringing out Maddie and Bougie Reality and Jasmine. So that was interesting to see, and what can come about of that situation is, really looking forward to see how that plays out.
Exactly. Well, I mean, I know we'll talk about it later, but JP called out Thunder Rosa herself, and she to come and answer the call and brought some backup. I think we should dive into matches. I think those are all great moments. I think we're going to dive, and I have some more to say about that JP and Simon match when we get to there. So let's get into the first match. It's going to be the pre-show match was Joey Heiner, versus Diego Rene. And these are some hybrid favorites. And we saw at the build up to this match, they had this very MMA build up, right? They were doing a weigh-in. They had a press conference, a press scrum ahead of time. Hyder is part of the military. He trains other people. So he has this regimented life and also a pro wrestler. And then we have Diego Rene, a regular at hybrid, facing Joey Hyder. And so this was kind of to start the show. So I would love to know, Tony, your thoughts, and just kind of go around and hear what you thought about this one.
It was a great way to open the night. You had, of course, them come out first, JP and Hyder come out first, and had the heat. They had the heat, walking around the ring, just taunting everybody. Got good reactions from the crowd there. I thought the match was very fast-paced, very athletic match. Like I said, it was a great way to start the night and to build on a amazing night that it was.
Yeah. I mean, it was very energetic. I mean, Joey always brings it. and Diego. So it was very energetic. Front row, what about you? And to kick off this match.
Yeah, to Tony's point, it was good energy. You always want to start the show off with a great match to set the tone. For me, it was interesting because anytime you see two students from the same school, there's going to be some similarities, but they wrestled two different styles. So it was interesting to me to see this matchup. I've been a fan of Diego for a while. I've not, obviously Joey is paired up with JP, who was ejected early in the match. He didn't last long. As expected, he got himself into some trouble and had to leave. But yeah, I enjoyed this match. It was a faster paced match than I expected, which I think was a great way to build the energy in the crowd.
For sure. Brian, what was your thoughts from your perspective on this match and having this one kind of kick off Silver Bells?
Yeah, I think that they were both, if you listen to the press conference, they were both a little pissed off that they were being called the pre-show.
Yeah.
So they both took it as like, we're not the pre-show, we're the opener. And I think they delivered on that aspect of like hard-hitting, fast-paced action to start the show. We still had people coming into the building and stuff like that, but I think that at that time, it was like a half full, but they still delivered like it was completely full.
Right.
And I like that energy that they brought. And, both of them really do deserve to be on the main show itself because they've both been a regular at Mission Pro and paying their dues. And, with Joey being a part of JP's little new group, it remains to be seen what that means and what kind of involvement he's going to have at Mission Pro.
For sure. I mean, I think that's a good take, Brian, and I think it will be interesting to see where Joey goes from here, and Diego, because what I do love about Hybrid is there's been kind of an interchangeable opponents where you have so much, you kind of have like a breeding ground of opponents that they can kind of go after and use in different scenarios. So it's exciting to see kind of those little matchups that happen. Mm-hmm. So let's move on to the next match, which is, I think we're going to go out of order here because I don't have my list. My computer.
So it's Emmy Camacho versus Jade. Yeah.
Jade. Okay. So here's our graphic. We have Emmy Camacho versus Jade. So we had Emmy Camacho's coming back to Mission Pro to take on Jade, who had her debut on Saturday. So we had two wrestlers that are newer to the industry, and they've been paired up to face each other. So Tony, what's your thoughts on this matchup and Emmy Camacho coming back and having a strong showing here on Saturday?
Right. It was exciting to meet Jade. We had her on our show a few weeks prior to Silver Bells 2, and so it was awesome to see her in person, get to meet her. Of course, she, was really nervous, but the match itself was very hard hitting. Jade in a losing effort, but she put up a good fight. I mean, I noticed during the match she was gaining sympathy from the crowd because Emmy had her down in some holes, and Jade was reaching out, getting that sympathy from the crowd. So I'm looking forward to seeing her again at Mission Pro. She was just a very personable person. Even in the intermission, when I met her, got to meet her and take a picture with her and stuff. I mean, she's just very, very personable person. And I thought the match was awesome. So what you can expect from Jade, she's a fighter, that's for sure.
For sure.
Yeah, and to Tony's point, we had a chance to sit down with Jade on our show on the Nation's Corner, and one of the things that was interesting to me was her martial arts background and her training up there in New York, and she really knows her stuff. So to see her in this match, and Emmy tried to get different holds on her, and of course she has an answer for a lot of them. Not everything, because obviously in the end she was defeated by the LeBell Lock, which is a pretty tried and true way to finish off your opponent. But I was rooting for Jade, but it just didn't go her way. But I would definitely like to see her on future Mission Pro shows.
Right.
Yeah, I think that both of them, the match itself was pretty solid. They're both pretty new, so we got what we got out of it. Was really solid match. But the thing that impressed me the most about both of them is their attitudes. They both had really great attitudes. Pull back the curtain a little bit. Like Jade was everywhere after the show, helping out, doing things, and I think she said goodbye to me like 19 times. Yeah, I got. She wanted to make sure that she really, was doing what she needed to do and being respectful and everything like that. At Mission Pro, we really do appreciate that kind of dedication, because it's always great to have somebody on the team that's going to, pull their weight, be a team player, and, pay their dues.
Yeah.
So I look forward to having, Emmy already pretty much going to a lock to be a solid person on Mission Pro all the time, being from Texas. But I definitely want to get Jade back in here.
Yeah.
And, see what she can do with other opponents and, watch her development grow from the beginning, which is always cool sometimes. So, when we get to see them at Mission Pro or at a younger level, to where you get to see them truly develop and then get those opportunities. And I think both of them are going to end up getting opportunities, hopefully not too soon, but, eventually they're both going to get the opportunities.
Yeah, I mean, I do peeling back the curtain just like Brian did a little bit. Both are so helpful when it comes to just helping make things go, and if anyone else needs help, and they're open to feedback too. They're open to how do I improve, and they're willing. And that's the biggest thing is you have to be willing to listen and willing to hear from others that have been around. And Jade had the worst travel day leading up to this, and she still, and I tried to make everything comfortable for her, even though she had the worst travel day trying to get there, getting stuck in North Carolina. And she still came in with such a positive, happy attitude. She was just happy to be there. And I feel like even though she didn't get the win, she still had such a positive outlook on just being a part of that show. So I appreciate that.
I think Jade's travel woes rubbed off on Front Row a little bit.
What happened?
Yeah, we did. So our flights on Sunday returning from San Antonio were pushed and then canceled. So we ended up being another day in San Antonio, which was fine. We get a chance to see more of the city and have a nice dinner. And Mark's also had his flights messed up, so we spent another day with Mark's, and we did get home Monday eventually with additionally delayed flights, but we did roll into town, so it worked out okay.
Good. I mean,
it was worth it.
There were some storms Saturday, Sunday, Monday, so I'm glad you guys got home safe. Let's move on to our next match, which was Casey Blackrose versus Devin Carter. So this is another hybrid School of Wrestling match. We had Casey, the man of Mission Pro, versus Devin Carter, who is another staple at hybrid. And again, it was last week or 2 weeks ago, Casey put the Mission Pro Cup on the line, and it was, he had to officially retain this on Saturday in order to be, he keeps claiming himself to be the man of Mission Pro, which has been irritating JP and others. So how did you feel about, let's start with Front Row. How'd you feel about this one?
Yeah, so I did see Casey and Devin on a mission a few weeks ago, and they had a strong exchange of words. But that was good. That's sort of one of the things that got me really interested in this matchup. And to see the Broken Brawler, the match that they had was interesting because their styles are very different. Devin is a very energetic, explosive wrestler, and Casey is more of a brawler, as his name would indicate. So I thought it was good. Devin has this almost like a natural selection. He does this really interesting cartwheel face plant, which is terrific. And Casey's chops are no joke. You could hear them echoing throughout the arena. It was amazing.
The there was one that I was like, oh, that's gonna leave a mark tomorrow.
Yeah, I was sore, honestly.
Yeah. I mean, what I found interesting is they also, I believe Devin was attacked at training during the week leading up to the show. So Casey sent, his people to, try to weaken Devin, which I feel like as a brawler, yeah, you're gonna kind of have those little undermining techniques going into this match. But I think Casey was very strong, and he wanted to make sure that he was on top at the end of this. Tony, what about you?
Oh man, so when Casey came out, of course, he's holding that trophy, getting heat, talking smack.
This is his town, so
yeah, he was very confident coming out, and then his opponent come out too, and I mean they were jaw jacking back and forth, got in the ring, had a great exchange, and the match was very well paced. I thought that it had some very dare say violent spots with chops and just the stuff they were doing, hard hitting, like we were sitting right there in our section we were just all like in tune to that match. It was a really, really great match. I got to fist bump Casey at the end during the intermission. You could see on his chest, you could see the whelps. So yeah, it was a very, very fast paced match.
For sure. Brian, what was your perspective on this match and, having Casey retain the Mission Pro Cup?
Yeah, I don't think Casey wanted to put the cup on the line. I think we kind of called him out on this show.
We did.
Put the cup on the line, and then we kind of got it official by the what did she refer to herself? El Jefe or La Jefe or I don't know the Spanish terminology for it, but the boss,
Yeah.
And she sanctioned that match to have the cup on the line. So I don't know if he wanted the cup on the line, but he had to put the cup on the line. But he came out victorious, So he's kind of starting to prove himself a little by little bit. Maybe he is the man of Mission Pro. Maybe him and JP are gonna come together one day and find out who really is the man of Mission Pro. We don't know. So
yeah,
that's the match itself was very good. Very hard hitting. Like you said, they beat the heck out of each other, and that's what we love at Mission Pro. Them going strong style and going rough. So the match is very entertaining, and Casey's good at getting people to hate him. So
yeah, I think that match got that 4-year-old's attention in front of us there because he actually turned around and actually watched a little bit of that match and then turned right back around and scissored us. So I think it caught his attention for a little bit to get him into
at least
match.
At least the chops got his attention, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, little kids like that, it's hard to keep their attention. So,
and it was a kid's birthday, so he was a little bit extra excited too.
Exactly, he probably had some cookies and
Well, and he also got to sing "Happy Birthday" by like 40 women, so that's kind of a big thing.
True.
Yeah. Shout out to little man. Shout out to little man.
Yes, but I have the most adorable picture of him. He was so overwhelmed by all that.
Yeah, I do believe his name was Hugo. I'm not sure, but I think it was.
It was very sweet.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we have more action. Like we're only a few matches in, and so much has happened. So our next match is Tiffany Nieves versus Misty Marks. So Misty Marks, we have a Texas favorite versus Tiffany Nieves, who Tiffany's coming back again after a little hiatus from Pro. And then Misty Marks has worked her way up from selling tickets at the door to being in the ring as a competitor. So it's both have amazing stories. Tiffany posted this someone made a beautiful shirt with the ribbon of a cancer survivor on it. She's a cancer survivor. She's such a warrior and has an incredible story too. So both of these women in the ring killed it on Saturday, and I was so proud of Misty. Just how much she has grown, and so I love seeing this. And I would love to know your thoughts. Maybe I'll start with Front Row. What was your thoughts on this match?
So it was interesting to me because Tiffany starts off with an eye rake, like she goes right for the bad guy move,
Mm-hmm.
and I was like, okay, I guess that's what we're doing here. I don't think the ref caught it, which is what it is. But I noticed certain things like Tiffany has really strong kicks.
Mhm.
Her kicks are no joke. There was a couple spots and there was a couple moments in that match where you could feel and hear it just being ringside. One of the other things was that hammerlock DDT that she likes to use is so crisp and so fast. I just loved it. But I'm a big fan of Tiffany, and I'm really hoping to see more of her at Mission Pro. But that Eat Defeat was just perfect. It was just, we've seen it, from other people like Mia Yim, and it's been used successfully elsewhere. But it was so crisp and so nice. It was just such a great ending to that match.
Yeah, I guess I'll go second. Let Tony go last this time. I think once again, I mean, it seems to be the theme of the thing. Very hard-hitting action. It seems like every single match delivered as far as hard-hitting, very technical wrestling, and they delivered in that aspect. I think Tiffany, this is her second time here. The first time she faced Diego, she's like a bad girl there, and then she kind of followed it up here with that same type of attitude. And I think that attitude really shows in her facial expressions when she's in that ring, really tells you a story. And same thing with Misty, as a baby face, the good girl, she, got the crowd behind her trying to root for her, and you felt like she was going to do it, but it didn't happen, So I think they both told a very good story in the ring. The hard-hitting action just makes it even better.
Mm-hmm.
And definitely look forward to what both of them are going to have at Mission Pro to come.
Right. Well, I have to admit, when Tiffany came out, it's my first time seeing her perform. Her and Misty both perform live. So, of course, we had our boo section over there, the Boo Birds for Tiffany. But what I noticed was her mannerisms and stuff reminded me of Sasha Banks and the way Tiffany carried herself and some of the things that she did. Brian mentioned her facials and all that stuff during the match. It's like she owns the ring. It's like she owns her character. She owns her attitude, and she's going to let everybody know that. And so, after the match was over, she caught up with me after the match, and of course, I walked up to her and showed respect, and she called me out for booing her, and I'm like, yeah, I admit I was booing you, but I'm a Tiffany mark. I have to admit it. I'm a Tiffany mark. So, yeah, I love that match.
One other thing I just want to add is like this match was so very psychologically sound. There was a moment where throughout the match, where Tiffany was attacking Misty's back, and she kept targeting that spot, the upper back, the lower back, the neck, but she kept attacking her so she would wear her down in a very specific way. And I thought that made a lot of sense and really added to, the overall vibe of the match.
Yeah, I mean, I think that is true for this one, and for many of the matches we saw, is like you have to target that one weakness, right? Your Achilles heel, find that spot that is going to take your opponent out. And Tiffany definitely kind of focused on that and tried to make that point very clear, which in the end was quite successful.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Now the craziness.
What was that, Brian?
Now the craziness begins.
Now,
dun, dun, dun.
now one of the matches of the night, I'm going to call it one of the matches of the night, is the Tag Team Championship match. Charity, Danny B versus Bougie Reality. And this was not, as you all know, this was not just a plain old Tag Team Championship match. We had to make it festive. So it was a candy cane lane street fight. There was giant candy canes. Of course, there was Christmas trees, giant presents, and a whole hair salon. So this, I think, was one of the matches of the night that everyone keeps talking about. The clips and photos and GIFs and all of that coming out of this match is just so much more than I think any of us could have like dreamed of, because you try to do something special for a show, and I don't know, I'm so happy that it's so well received. And all four of them just showstoppers. So I'm going to start with you, Brian, first. Brian.
This match was just total chaos. I don't even know to begin where to like cover everything in the match. But there is one person in the match that I want to specifically highlight because I do feel like we've been working with her for like 3 years, and me and Front Row have this conversation all the time, is Rachel Chanel.
Mm-hmm.
Because even though everyone did a great job in the match, something about her always stands out to me on the way that she delivers her kicks, how hard she hits, how she flies through that ring with like, I always feel like I need to increase the insurance on the building and everything because I feel like, she's going to kill somebody one day because she hits so hard and she delivers, and she's one of those wrestlers that for the last 3 years has just improved so much. And then like, I know later we're going to talk about maybe wrestler of the year and stuff like that. And I know typically you don't really think of like a tag team person being in the wrestler of the year, but I really do think that she is kind of one of our unsung wrestler of the years,
Mm-hmm.
and then then going to the match itself, some of the crazy things that happen, with the hairdryer thing and Ray Shea almost taking Danny's head off with kicking her with I don't even know what it's called, the hair dryer part. And then Maddie and Charity King going through the door. And I don't even know what they were doing over there by the entrance. The Nation's Corner can talk about that because I couldn't even see over there. But it was just like pure chaos, and it really delivered. The crowd was really like pumped up for that, and it was a good way to go into intermission, because we needed a break after that match.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I like the clip of Maddie going through the door with Charity is like so intense, and there's just so many spots. There's like the candy cane when Ricochet attacked with the candy cane, and it both flew across, like both pieces flew across.
Before I turn it to them, there was a point where Maddie was beating Charity with the wrapping paper, and you could just see Charity was like, "What are you doing?" Like, no, we ain't having none of this. And she backed Maddie up all the way into the ring, got Maddie, and then Danny B got a hold of Maddie, and then just proceeded to start whipping the hell out of Maddie. Like whipping her,
and
like a government mule. So it's like that part really got me too.
Yeah. I mean, those rolls are no joke. Like, those will hurt.
Yeah.
And candy canes hurt. Brian, before I get to the rest of the review of this match, I agree with Brian that Ricochet Chanel has grown so much over the course of 3 years. And when Bougie Reality kind of came together, I feel like she finally found this kind of perfect combination of just using her character, and I felt like she could finally really shine and be herself, and Maddie kind of, I think, helped bring that out in her. And so when they both get in the ring, they work so well together, and I feel like they both have helped each other grow. But I do think Ricochet is just like this shining star that has grown so much, and she's balancing school and all this stuff, so it's she works so hard. So I do have to give her some props as well.
Yeah.
All right, Tony, what did you think about this crazy candy cane lane?
Yeah, it was crazy. All right. The entrance to the match, when Bougie Reality come out, Maddie, she had a candy cane in her mouth. She had it to a point. She had it to a point, and I'm surprised she didn't use that during the match. She gave Neil a dirty look with that candy cane. I witnessed that personally.
Said the radio, she said it on a mission. She said it all over that she was gonna make little candy canes and turn them into little tiny shivs. So she did.
Yeah, she did.
It was too sharp though.
Yeah, some dude in the front row got his hat knocked off by Maddie. That was pretty funny. But when they got into the match, it was just what you'd expect in a street fight. I mean, it was action going on all over the place. The door was a great spot that happened, on the opposite corner from us. So we got to see that on clips, but we heard it, and we heard the reaction from the crowd, and the crowd was pumped up for this match. The crowd was very into this match. I thought it was a great way to go into intermission because we needed a breather after that match because, I mean, everybody put everything they had into that match. But yeah, it was a great street fight. I loved all the candy canes and the wrapping paper and the door and the hairdressing stuff that Ricochet had. She owes Mongrovian Mike a hairdo, by the way. Yeah, I thought that was going to happen that night, but it didn't. So yeah, she needs to get with Mongrovian Mike on an appointment.
Why does she owe him an appointment, a hair appointment?
It was between him and her. They discussed something and after the show or whatever. So, and yeah, as you could tell, you met Mongrovian Mike. You saw his hair.
He does. He does a little nice holiday haircut. I think or start the new year with one because it is a little long. It's a little
Yeah, he's got to do something with that hair, So
he has split ends that are over 3,000 years old.
Mongrovian Mike agrees. Yes, my hair is a mess. So yeah, I'm gonna get those split ends fixed.
But yes, enjoyed that match. That. That was one of my matches of the night.
I'm gonna go back and watch it again because that's my favorite. I think that's one of my favorites. All right. Well, then we had.
Hold on, you forgot Front Row's take on it.
Front Row. Sorry, Front Row. I know you. I feel like you guys are.
We're the same person. It's all right.
I'm kidding. I wasn't skipping you. Just my order was all messed up. What did you?
I get it. I get it.
Favorite moment in this match.
There was a couple moments, and you mentioned it earlier when Maddie was pulled out from under the ring and she had those two rolls. When you double up two rolls, they become 4 times stronger. It felt like when she was swinging those things, she was right in front of us. The smack, and you could see the marks immediately. It was just brutal. And yes, to Brian's point, I'm a huge fan of the progress of Ricochet Chanel over the last few years, specifically from the end of 2019 to the end of 2021, and right as Bougie Reality started to form, she took the character and honed her craft to really become a well-rounded performer. And I feel like she's one of those people where she has sort of a comedic fun side, but when the bell rings, that sort of just goes away and you get a killer and you get somebody who's very dangerous in that ring to their opponent. Her kicks, her strikes, her suplexes are super sharp, all that stuff. But to me, I had not seen Danny B live. And our good friend RA out in Oklahoma has seen her, a few times live at the Mission Pro shows there. And holy cow, does she have basement drop kicks and strikes. And she is just a powerhouse. She's just explosive. And I really, really enjoyed seeing her in this match. And it was fun, with the "We Want Presents" chant. It was just all kinds of. It was a blast. And then Ricochet's kick in the corner, because she was in the corner by us. Her kick when Danny was sort of almost unconscious in the corner, propped up with a gift. That kick to the head with the gift. I mean, that's Christmas delivery right there.
I know. That is not something you do if you want to be on Santa's nice list.
No.
Can I tell you a funny behind the scenes story about those presents?
Sure.
So I they're Amazon boxes and boxes I've been collecting because I knew that we wanted to create some fun presents under the tree and the decorations, right, for the main entrance. But what happened was one of the smaller boxes, I accidentally wrapped a present in them. I left something in the box and I realized it as we got there. I was like, oh, there's something in here. And then it got used in the match. And I was like, thank goodness it didn't get squished because it's my mom's Christmas present. So it survived.
but and what's funny is I didn't know. I didn't know that it was. Yeah, it was a whole thing, and I was like, I literally went under the ring at the end of the show to like find the box to make sure it didn't get destroyed.
Wow.
It was a thing, but it's all good. It's Christmas is saved in my house. So
Yeah.
Awesome.
oh, see, it's what we do for the love of wrestling.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Any last thoughts on this bougie reality candy cane lane street fight?
I just felt bad for the people that had to clean up. That's all.
Yeah.
Yes, it was a full team effort to and there was candy canes. We didn't talk about the candy canes and the ornaments as well. So those got destroyed as well.
Yeah, it took the whole ring crew, the whole entire intermission to clean it up.
Yes, and a little bit longer, I think.
Yeah.
So we can't do it without all of them to help make the show happen after intermission. All right, should we so we had our intermission and that was super fun. Everyone bought merch like crazy. I love to see it. So let's talk about this 6-man tag that happened. Let me pull up the graphic here. So as you can see, we had Don Juan's team. We had Don Juan, David Kidd, Jet Black versus Brandon Weiss, Zakai Living, and Jesse James. And this was another 6-man tag team match, courtesy of Hybrid School of Wrestling. And again, we've seen a lot of these guys in the ring before, in different scenarios. I love Don Juan's team coming out, dancing, having a good time, getting the audience, moving and grooving. And it was such a fun way to come out of intermission. So who wants to go first? Who wants to talk about this one first?
Go ahead, Tony.
All right, you go.
Okay, so I think this is the match that Brian was referring to with the referee hip toss spot, I think. Yeah. I enjoyed that. But when they were coming out, as Emily just said, the dancing and stuff like that, getting the crowd into it. So when the other team come out, Jesse James, I immediately said Cobra Kai never dies, and we got a Cobra Kai never dies chant going in our section. But I enjoyed Zakiya because he is very charismatic and flamboyant, and when he's in the ring and every move that was done on him, he would let out a high pitched it was so hilarious. And I also enjoyed the twerk off. The twerk off during that match was funny as well. I thought this match was like my second favorite. Behind the JP Simon match and the Genocide Janai Kai match, this is right up there with one of my favorite matches of the night.
Cool.
Wow. You put that ahead of the street fight?
Street fight? The candy cane lane?
Oh,
no, that was my number one. That's my number one favorite.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. I was
a little confused there for a second. I was like, wow.
I was confused
No.
I was going to say
it was entertaining. It was very entertaining, but it didn't take the place of the candy cane street fight. No way.
Yeah. Brian, what about you? What was your thoughts on the 6-man tag?
I think it's always hard when you come back from a very short intermission because you're still trying to get a lot of people back in their seats, and try to get wrestlers back in there. So, to start off, it was like trying to herd cattle back in. So I think a lot of the dancing part was missed by some people. But it ended up being a very good, solid match, and then got the crowd back into it, woke them back up, getting ready for the second half of the show. So, I mean, it was very entertaining, and especially that ref spot. I love that part. Normally I wouldn't okay something like that. I didn't okay something like that, but it happened, and I thought it was very, entertaining. And the crowd reaction was like priceless.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Brian, to your point, having a spot like that where there's sort of a comedic moment with a referee, Hella's her name, right?
Yeah.
There was that moment and it was fun, but then she went right back to being the authority in the ring. There was never a moment where you felt like she wasn't in control of refereeing that match, which I really, really liked. But also I appreciated the fact that, Zakai Living and of course, Devin from earlier in the night, they mentioned on commentary that they're two of the out LGBTQ students at Hybrid. And as a proud ally, like that means a lot to me that they're featured on the show. So I love to see that. But Jet Black had this high running knee that I just thought was going to take somebody's head off. And he also had a missile drop kick that was as good as anything I've ever seen. Like it was high and solid and made really good contact. There were just those moments where when you have that many people in the ring, it's kind of hard to focus on the action because there's stuff going on outside, there's stuff going on in the ring, but the pacing and the action was done so well. I just really enjoyed this match.
Yeah.
Yeah, this was a really fun match. I mean, Hybrid School of Wrestling always delivers. I mean, they train, like I've been to their training sessions a couple of times recently, and they train from like 6 to 10. Like it's no joke. It's a long time. They do a bunch of different exercises. They practice, they kind of go through drills and matches, and it's a lot, and I think we forget that even though they're still training, like they're learning their identity in the ring, what they can do, what they're comfortable doing. And this is a great way, partnering with Mission Pro, to kind of showcase that and, and test things out and see what works, see what doesn't. But I feel like all of them delivered in this match for sure.
Yeah, I agree.
All right. Next match is going to be Jasmine versus, I'm getting the graphic here, Jasmine Allure Top Tier versus MJ Santana. So again, we have Jasmine Allure, former Mission Pro champion, versus MJ Santana. She's kind of new to Mission Pro, but she's been at a show. She's previously had some matches, so she's kind of learning her way through Mission Pro and how this all works. What did you all, maybe Brian, do you want to give some insight into this match?
Yeah, I mean, this speaking of bad spots, this was kind of tucked in between the 3-on-3 versus the Simon Miller and JP.
Yeah,
thing.
it's a tough spot.
Like if you not to talk negative, but you might have forgotten that it was there because so much was happening in between. But besides that, it was a very good match. It was a very solid match. They were both kind of like equal in size. Where it made it, usually Jasmine's facing people that are much bigger than her. So it was really cool to see Jasmine go up against somebody like her, same stature.
Yeah.
I think actually Jasmine might even be a little taller.
Yeah, MJ's really, really tiny. Yeah.
Yeah, so it was cool to see that different style matchup at this time of the card.
Mm-hmm.
I think they both delivered and put on a great show.
Yeah, I mean, I think I'm going to be excited to just watch this as it's kind of not within the show, but just separate, which a lot of these matches we're going to get up on Mission Pro's YouTube. So you guys can watch them separate from the entirety of the show, which again, that does affect when you're watching the show and in how you react to matches. But I think overall, this was a really great match. To Brian's point, I did like having kind of a similar build matchup, for Jasmine's opponent. So I really like seeing that. Front row, what did you think about this match?
Yeah, I think it was an interesting matchup because I think we saw MJ is continuing to evolve. I think she even debuted a crossbody that I don't think she'd done before. They mentioned on commentary. But she has really, really solid knee strikes. Her knee strikes are pretty good. And I like to see that stuff. I do think that at points in the match, MJ just took too much time after she would execute an attack on Jasmine. She would take too long for the cover or the attempt for the pin or whatever. And I think that was one of the reasons why it didn't go her way. There's just little things that, as a competitor, you have to kind of make the most of those opportunities. But Jasmine's she's a former Mission Pro champ. She's tough to beat. She's crafty. She's just really good. So
Yeah.
I enjoyed it, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean MJ's still training, still learning, and I think you're right in this, that there were moments where like you have to respond quickly, especially when you're working with a former champion and someone that's been in this roster and in this company for a while. Like they know how to handle new opponents coming in, so you have to get the upper hands quickly and respond quickly. So that's something that she has to learn and work on.
Yeah.
Tony, what did you think about this one?
I thought that the match was, like Brian said, it was in a kind of a, weird spot between two big matches, two exciting matches. But I thought that MJ, she had a good showcase against Jasmine. She learned some things, Jasmine, I noticed. And Jasmine is really good, of course, top tier for a reason. She's really good. She gets heat. She had old people in the audience with their canes, chanting. So yeah, she was doing her job there. But yeah, I thought it was a great match. But yeah, to Front Row's point, it was just MJ took a little too long. But that's the way it goes when you're learning, and she'll come back out next time stronger. So that's what the point is. So who better to go against than Jasmine,
For sure. I mean, lots of people are talking in the chat, Brian. I think this is, I don't know if you can see it, but lots of people are asking for a Jasmine and Genocide for the belt. Would be awesome.
Yeah, I mean, we still got to go back to those win and loss records. Jasmine's almost like at 500. So, like she's got to get together a couple more wins before she gets that opportunity, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Let's move on. We're going to move on to the next match. And this is, I think, this is one of the matches that I think all of us are still talking about. And I know this graphic is old, but, we had JP versus Simon Miller, with Joey Hyder, and obviously Dave LaGreca, due to injury, couldn't be with us on Saturday, so we missed him. I know Nation's Corner missed him. He missed all the fun for sure. So this is a really, I would say, controversial match. Lots of people talking about this nasty referee that interfered and caused havoc. Who wants to go first? There's so much to talk about.
I mean, I guess I could go first.
Brian, you want to speak to this?
Crazy. This match was just crazy.
Yeah.
From the moment that both of them came out in the ring, you saw the energy in the crowd that, they were 100% behind Simon and 100% against JP, and it stayed that way the whole entire match. Like literally, I don't remember the crowd ever being quiet at all.
Mm-hmm.
So even to the point where, like, when it built up to that spot, the match itself was just hard hitting. You saw like red marks all over their chests and bodies.
Oh, yeah.
The stuff they were doing was high flying, and not so much high flying, but hard hitting. And then when it led up to the point where, JP did Simon got JP with the shovel once again in the groin area, you thought, okay, JP screwed himself again. And, that shovel was just sitting in the corner.
Yeah.
And the ref was, I would say the ref was very, fair throughout the whole match. So you didn't know anything was ever wrong with the ref. There was times where the crowd was kind of like, oh, you need to count faster, a little faster,
Yeah,
but he was counting slow for both of them, So I wouldn't say that he was counting slower for one or the other, So when he picked up the shovel, naturally you just think he's going to toss the shovel out to the outside or something, And then when he turned around and Simon had his back towards him and he hit him, the crowd was like, what the beep, And then they, like it sat in for a second and then he did it again, And I can tell you, he didn't take it light on Mr. Simon Miller. If you looked at Simon Miller's back after the match, I mean, he had cuts. He was red, and possibly a little blood all over that back.
Yeah.
And, and that led to the finish of the match where JP was to get the 3 on him. Getting some feedback here. Who's is that? Getting the 3, and then to end that, then JP wants to call out Thunder Rosa. To where it was like, what did he want with Thunder Rosa? And then he kind of called her out on the treatment of men in Mission Pro and how he didn't feel it was, they were being treated fairly. Kind of the role reversal. And then, Thunder answered him and, told him she's the boss around here. And then pretty much, called out some wrestlers to confront him.
Yeah. I mean, the referee was getting so much heat. People were flipping him off. People were yelling at him. I'm surprised he didn't get stuff thrown at him. I was getting messages, not very nice messages from people. I will say that. So yeah, guys, people are taking this really seriously. That this was not a cool thing to do. But Thunder again, like Thunder slapping JP. I was like, Thunder's usually very.
She's very.
Oh, we lost her. So let me.
Just very reserved. I think that's where she was going with it.
Yeah, and she's typically a lot more professional than that. She's just, part of management, and she just does her thing, helping run the show and doing all the stuff. But yeah, to see her get sort of involved in that way, it obviously meant a lot to her. But JP, the heat that JP got right from the beginning with the little kid and the sign, like it started right at the beginning, and the hatred towards JP did not end until like the next day, I think, or maybe not even. But the way that he was able to elicit that feeling, and to Brian's point, at no point during that match did I feel like there was anything going on with the referee. It was very fair. The match was called very fair. Simon did get his head split in the back early on in the match, and I'm not sure when that happened, but he got bumped at some point. But the way that they interacted with the crowd was brilliant. And even in the beginning, when Simon and JP were up on the ring post doing the yay boos, there was Brian's right. It was 100% good for one and 100% bad for the other. It was the most energy I've felt in the room in a long time.
Yeah, there was one. I don't mean to cut you off, but there was one part I forgot because we were getting Mr. Scrunchy Pants in here making noise or something. I don't know what that noise was. But when JP, he went to pick up a little kid. I don't know if you saw that. He went to pick up a little kid, and I have no clue what he planned on doing with this little kid. But the little kid did something to get away from him, and then she ended up slapping the hell out of him, not once but twice.
Mm-hmm.
So and then the kid got a chant throughout the crowd, which was really cool.
The chant was
a little bit of everything, crowd involvement and everything.
Yeah, we were chanting "Sign that kid."
Yeah.
Yeah, no one wants to be picked up by him. Especially a little kid.
He grabbed her by the hair. I'm like, what are you doing? And then of course fortunately she got a little bit of revenge, which was terrific.
Yeah, we don't condone that at Mission Pro.
Yeah, we don't. Yeah, no. Yeah, so Tony, did you share your thoughts on this match?
Not yet, but I'm echoing everybody else's thoughts. It was a great, exciting match. JP's a master at getting heat from the crowd. He had all of us booing him. Of course, Simon Miller. He's an interesting guy. Me and Mongrovian and Mike had a Metallica discussion with him the night before. And I mean, he loves his metal like me and Mongrovian and Mike do. But yeah, I mean, the match was exciting from start to finish. I enjoyed the little girl spot. and you know, the just the crowd was so into it. The crowd was into everything Saturday night. That crowd was hot. I was very surprised. I remember looking over the crowd during one of the matches and just seeing everybody all across, you know, everyone, the seats, and it was just everyone was into it. You didn't see anybody looking down at their phones or nothing. You saw everybody focused on the match and booing or cheering, and that's what you want in a wrestling show. And of course, I think the referee, I think he's a Nick Patrick fan, because he had Nick Patrick vibes at the end of the match when he swerved everyone. Do we have a name for this faction that's formed after Saturday? Does
No,
anybody know?
we'll have to get that from JP. You know, he didn't.
Yeah, we'll get back to you on that. I mean, we are, you know, watch Mission Pro socials, because there are some responses and some backstage moments that happened after the show with this new faction, and then also Simon Miller has a response after Saturday's event. So watch socials and our YouTube, because that's going to come out soon. So
Cool.
You'll definitely learn more, you know, and gain some more insight into what happened and why.
Okay.
So
I'll be looking forward to that.
yeah, and yeah, this referee. So everyone, please stop sending me messages. Thanks. That's my little PSA. Be nice. I had to get escorted to my car.
Wow.
All right.
Security guard.
Yeah, I need a security guard, Brian. We got to put that down. Any other last comments on this match before we get to the main event?
Well, do we talk about the post-match promos? Because the promos, the war of words between JP and Thunder Rosa were pretty severe. And as a fan and a promoter of women's wrestling, to see JP speaking the way that he did to not only Thunder Rosa but the women of Mission Pro was rude, and it was egregious. So I'm going to be very, very interested to see what 2023 brings for this new wave of JP acolytes or followers. And when you start talking about ruffling the feathers of a genocide or bougie reality or even Thunder Rosa, like, I don't think it's going to go well for them, but I'm here for it. Let's see what happens.
Yeah, I mean, Thunder responded with a slap and calling out three other ladies that can take JP on, because we aren't going to take that. Like, we're Mission Pro, we're a female centric company, and we're not going to take that from JP. So and I think that was very, very apparent on Saturday. So that promo, and like that was like intense, and had a lot of, on both sides, had a lot of like heart in it,
Yeah.
Any other thoughts on that post-match segment?
All I'd like to say is I think I caught JP's taste that Thunder slapped out of his mouth.
Oh yeah, Mongrovian Mike is calling you out. Front Row sponsors bad people.
I didn't look. It was a different time.
It was way, to give him like the benefit of the doubt. He sponsored him before all this, went down. So he had no idea.
No, at the time, JP was trying to be the man of Mission Pro, and he was trying to tell Dave LaGreca that he was an outsider. It didn't go well. It turned into something that I didn't expect, and I apologize.
Yeah. So, but you're gonna make it up next time, so we're good.
Yes, 100%.
Yeah. All right, let's get to our main event. So, of course, we had our Mission Pro champion. I'm gonna pull this up. Mission Pro champion had her first title defense against the kick demon Janai Kai, and man, were there kicks! There were kicks after kicks after kicks after kicks. Whew, can't even count them enough. This was definitely a battle and a war here in the ring. Kick Demon, yes. So maybe let's see. I'm trying to get front row. What about you? What did you think about this match? Genocide. It's her first title defense. This was a big deal. Important moment to kind of establish herself and her championship reign.
Yeah, so Janai Kai coming in as a challenger, we were at WrestleCade a few weeks ago, and she did win the Ladies Night Out Championship there. So she's coming as a champion as well.
Herself, yeah.
And of course, as the Kick Demon, she comes with this with this aura about her. But if you've watched Genocide and her social medias and her training, her kicks are no joke either. She is a very, very powerful person. So it was a war of kicks and strikes, and it's almost hard to break down a match like this because it was so physical and such a battle. That one of the things that I really liked is Janai's offense is very innovative. It's very creative. She did a reverse guillotine and clasped her arms behind her back and got this really interesting lock. And what that does is it makes it difficult for the person that's in the lock to actually break it because you can't reach the clasped hands. And she did it twice to great effect. But I thought this was one of the coolest matches. We've been looking forward to this match for a long time since it was announced. And if Janai's on every show, I'd be thrilled. But Genocide is who she is, and I'm glad she's still the champion. So
for sure. Brian, do you want to go next?
Yeah, the good thing about this match, I think it brought a whole different style than the rest of the show. So it gave it a whole different pace, a whole different, once again, of course it was hard hitting, but, like you said, it was more like I felt like I was watching a Street Fighter match or something, Cobra Kai versus Miyagi Dojo or something. They were really, and those were kicks that you could hear. Like if anyone thinks it was like, oh, they were just being light kicks to each other. No, they weren't, like literally, like I was on the other side of the building and I can hear each thud, each leg.
Yeah.
I don't even know how they were standing after some of those kicks,
I'm sure they're all bruised, today.
Yeah.
This week they're going to be all bruised.
When Janai goes in her Kick Demon mode and starts going berserker mode, you're watching her do that with the kicks back and forth. And it's just like, okay, how many times is she going to do this? You know what I mean? She's just going and going and going like the Energizer Bunny. And it's just like, every single one of those hurt, and it's just like, you just can't fake that stuff, like those are kicks coming to your chest that hurts and then your back, so that was, a display of two women just wanting to beat the hell out of each other. I don't even think it mattered about the belt itself. It was just two women that wanted to beat each other up, you know.
This comment, Brian Bob says, the first MPW show I attended, Genocide delivered a pump kick, and my first reaction was, oh, so I just witnessed a murder. The champ always delivers.
Yes,
That's true.
I think that Genocide wanted to show the Kick Demon, like I can bring the kicks too.
Yeah.
So normally, if you have someone that has a strength, you don't usually try to play into their strength. But I think Genocide took the challenge. It was like, no, I'm going to show you I could do this too.
Yeah.
Which was very impressive,
Yeah.
And then at the end, she caught her with the tombstone. That tombstone came out of nowhere.
Oof.
So it was just like, whoa, okay.
Yeah.
So I don't think I think Janai kind of fell into Genocide's trap, like, hey, we're gonna be beating the heck out of each other. Now someone's just gonna grab you and just tombstone you, and I'm gonna call it the end, because bring it back to the wrestling part, and not the fighting part.
Yeah, I mean, Genocide's been training a lot more in different techniques, in different areas. So, and knowing that she would face Janai Kai, I feel like she upped the ante a little bit and said, okay, I gotta train on these different techniques, learn how these different kicks, because she has to reciprocate those, and she definitely did. And I loved the fact that they have this 5-year history. Genocide and Janai Kai had like one of their first matches together. Genocide almost broke Janai Kai's face, and there's pictures. I don't know if you all saw that on social media, but after they had a confrontation on a mission and talked to each other, you know, back and forth a little bit, kind of talk some smack a little bit. Janai Kai reminded us that she almost broke her nose because of genocide. And so there was that heat that Janai Kai brought into this match, and she had a lot to prove that she could stand on her own. And I think they both did this, even though, you know, genocide retained and everyone's pretty excited about that. I feel like Janai Kai definitely stood her own in this match.
Right. I thought that, you know, the Kick Demon, you know, it's the first time I've gotten to see her live. I'm a member of the Mosul Army Genocide, so I was honored to see her before. But yeah, it was a. I mean, they gave it all in that match. I saw Genocide after the match, and she was just so exhausted. I mean, she gave everything in that match, and Janai brought the buffet of kicks to her. And I don't think she expected Genocide to throw it back to her. Yeah, it was what you would expect for a main event, for a title defense. Genocide's first. Thought it was awesome. So I'm definitely a Janai Kai fan after this match too, because I know Neil told me about her before the night. You know, he told me about her and said, you got to keep your eye on her, man. She's awesome. So. But yeah, I was not disappointed in this match at all.
Yeah. Wait, Neil, I gotta know. I'm not excited that Genocide retains.
Neil is a big fan of Janai Kai, a huge supporter, which is fine. Everybody has their favorites.
All right, okay.
You can be wrong. It's fine.
That's.
I don't think he meant to word it so harshly. But if you know Neil, that's just how he is. I don't think he dislikes genocide. You know, I just think he.
I mean, everyone else
Janai.
Yeah. Janai Kai was great to watch. Only me and Neil were the only ones cheering for her, while everyone was cheering for Genocide. I felt like Janai had Genocide a few times, but didn't capitalize. Good point.
Oh.
And
I just want to add.
I'm a big Kick Demon fan. We see that. All right. What did you want to add?
No, I just want to add one thing. So, like, we were there with our friend Guido and his daughter Ruthie and their whole family, and we did see a lot of younger people in the audience, and to see the look on their faces, to see these women kicking ass and doing these things from a representation perspective, it's really cool. It's just really nice to support a group like Mission Pro who give these young people to look up to. And in this match specifically, it was two warriors doing their thing, and it was so inspiring. So it's important to me.
Yeah, I mean, I know that there were some people that were coming to Mission Pro for the first time on Saturday. It was their first wrestling show, or first Mission Pro show. And that's what I loved, looking out into the crowd and just seeing these kids just enamored by these like strong women in the ring, just doing these amazing things. And that's part of why we do it, is because we're inspiring the next generation. And that's what's special, just seeing that. And we're going to continue to do that.
Did you hear that there was like a 4 or 5 year old girl to the right of us who cheered for Genocide the entire match? It was amazing.
Yeah, she was on her feet the entire match cheering for her.
Yeah, there's a lot of little ones that just love Genocide and just cheer her on. And her table, when she sells merch, usually has just a line of kids and their parents, because they just love her so much, and it's amazing to see. Amazing. Brian, did you give your thoughts on this match? I totally.
Yeah.
Yeah, you did. Any other? Okay. I mean, it was an amazing show. You guys, if you haven't watched it, anyone in the chat, I know a lot of the people in the chat have seen the show. We're there in person, but if you haven't watched it, you can go to Title Match Network and watch it, and then see all of our Mission Pro content from past shows. And we did announce our next show, February 11th, is MPW's Kickstart My Heart, and we're going to be in the same location in San Antonio. So that is our first our first show of the year, so you don't want to miss it. Get your tickets. Make sure you can watch it. JD, hi. Make sure you can watch it because that's where we have a lot of matches to announce. So follow, like, subscribe to Mission Pro. That's where all of those will be announced, or we might announce some here on a mission. But you could follow and subscribe to our YouTube channel, hit the notification button, make sure that you're we have some more matches from Welcome to the Jungle coming out this week, and then we'll start posting Silver Bells too. So if you want to watch them and they're kind of single clips, you can do that as well. But Brian, I'm going to pass it over to you because Brian has some special announcements, because we're gonna talk about the Mission Pro End of the Year awards.
Yeah, so every year we do like the Mission Pro End of the Year awards, and this year we're probably going to do this next week on the show, since we're looking for content to talk about. We'll announce the winners, but all this week we would like for people to tweet in or put it on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, tagging Mission Pro, who you think are the Wrestler of the Year for 2023. Not 2023. I'm already moving ahead. 2022. The Tag Team of the Year 2022. Help me out, front row. They're all on title. They're all up on the website.
Best improved, most improved.
Do we have that category?
Well, we talked about the possibility of it.
Oh yeah. Well, what are the four actual categories? Let me look on the Eventbrite.
Yeah.
Real quick.
And what we'll do is, Brian.
Oh, the show of the year. The show of the year, and the moment of the year. Last year the Wrestler of the Year was Holiday.
Mm-hmm.
Then we had Tag Team of the Year last year was the Renegade Twins. The moment of the year was Thunder Rosa spearing Dave LaGreca through the can.
Yeah.
And then the show of the year, I'd have to look that one up. But so this year we had a little bit less show, so it's going to be a little easier to prove to choose from as far as show of the year. But like rest of the year, like I said, we need your input to help us try to decide who should win these categories, because I think that it shouldn't always just go to the main champion. There's other people that have really delivered and done stuff too. Not to root against Genocide, but even then, Holiday was champion for 9 months out the year.
Mm-hmm.
Genocide won the belt in September.
Yeah.
So there's and then like I pointed out that Rachel Chanel had such an outstanding year. I don't think she suffered a loss all year.
Mm-hmm.
So there's we need everyone's input on trying to help us decide on these categories.
So Brian, I guess we'll put some polls and some questions out on the Mission Pro channels, so everyone.
Yeah, so just keep in mind that just because the poll winner is not going to be the actual winner, we're still going to decide based on, because it always, when you do that, it's whoever's the most popular.
Yeah, we'll do like a percentage audience vote and a percentage Mission Pro management vote.
Yeah, because we did have some good tag teams come in through Mission Pro this year. We had the Hex, we had Renegade Twins are here, Busy Reality.
We also had Genocide and Kylan King team up too. Mm-hmm. And they did it for one show, but they were a pretty popular tag team.
Yeah, so we had a lot of good people come in, and and like newcomer of the year, I think that, or most improved, those are categories we talk about. Mm-hmm. Bringing in like maybe newcomer to Mission Pro of the Wrestler of the Year. But send in your suggestions, and we'll formulate a plan and come up with the winners for next week's show.
Yeah.
Cool.
So everyone tag Mission Pro on Twitter or Instagram, and we'll post about it so that you guys can be involved, because we might hear from the fans. So and
maybe even like commentary person of the year, or you never know.
Yeah, we'll do our award ceremony next week.
Yeah.
Before the holidays.
Cool.
So,
anyone have any input on that, or any personal favorites you'd like to see?
You have to wait till next week.
No, I'm asking you now if you have anyone you'd like to plug real quick.
Well, I mean, This year, Danny B was huge for me. Like I saw, we get such good feedback from her at the Oklahoma shows. And then what I saw this week, I think if you want to talk about a newcomer, like she made a big splash this year.
Yeah.
For sure. And she's great on the mic. Like she definitely made a statement. The Rashay versus Danny match at Oklahoma was one of the best matches I've seen for our shows, like on the road. Like it was, whew.
Once
Tony,
again,
what were you gonna say?
Chanel was involved. See,
Yeah.
For newcomer of the year, I would just want to throw out, and I've already mentioned it before, but Jade, I was very impressed with her attitude, very impressed with her work ethic, and I'm looking forward to seeing more of her. She's definitely on my list for newcomer of the year.
Okay. I'm writing this all. I'm gonna write this all down so we can all discuss it. Make sure that we'll duke it out. All right. Well, that's exciting. I'm excited that we get to talk through the end of the year awards next week. So stay tuned, everyone, on time and date for that. And thank you both for joining us for our little Silver Bulls 2 recap and kind of post-show celebration of such a year, too. We've had such an incredible year of shows and matches. I have to thank all the sponsors. I have to thank Brian, Thunder, Jeremiah, everyone, the whole team that helped all year round to make all this happen. So it's going to be another exciting year next year and more wrestling.
Awesome. Can't wait.
Yeah.
Yep.
Any other last words, Brian, for
no, just follow the Nation's Corner on social media. I'm not sure what your tag is, but y'all can say that.
Yeah, so you can follow me at PW Front Row across all the socials. You can follow our show at Nation's Corner on Twitter and at The Nation's Corner across all the other socials. This weekend at 7 p.m. on Saturday, we'll have our regular show and probably be telling some more stories from this weekend. We did a lot in 4 days, including the Mission Pro show, but we had 15 people from around the country gather. So tune in for some fun stories.
Yeah. You can follow me at Tony Justice AJFA, and if you're a Metallica fan, you know what that means. Me and Deb will be in Philadelphia for Battleground. We're going to be there for Bully Ray versus Matt Cardona. So me and her will not be on the show Saturday night, but you will have an entertaining show nonetheless with Front Row and Mongrovian Mike and who else? We don't know. Tune in to find out.
I have some ideas. Stay tuned.
Stay tuned.
Sounds good. Well, everyone follow Nation's Corner, follow PW Front Row and Tony Justice. They do a great show and they're great people, great sponsors, great supporters, and we're thankful for them. We're thankful for all of you out there that is joined us in the chat, that follows, watches our shows. We appreciate it. Follow Mission Pro on all of our social channels. You can follow me at Emily May Heller on all social channels, and go to missionprowrestling.com for your tickets for the next show on February 11th. We appreciate you all. Until next week, we'll chat soon. Bye.
Bye.